Summary of 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel García Márquez. The couple, José Arcadio Buendía and Ursula Iguaran, left Riohacha, Colombia, to start a new life. José Arcadio Buendía thinks of the town of Macondo, which is made of mirrors, while he is sleeping on the bank of a river. He decides that they should build the town where they are sleeping. The village is being built while José Arcadio Buendía's family grows. His sons José Arcadio, I, and Aureliano, later known as Colonel Aureliano Buendía, are born in Macondo or on the way there. Every once in a while, a group of gypsies comes to town to show off their inventions, such as magnifying glasses, magnets, and flying carpets. This band is led by the gypsy Marquez, who gives José Arcadio Buendía a forecast written in code that makes him crazy about technology, especially alchemy. The book jumps ahead in time to before Ursula Iguaran and José Arcadio Buendía left Riohacha. Because they are first cousins, they were told that their children might have DNA problems because two of their relatives had a child with a pig's tail. Because they don't want to complete their marriage, stories spread that José Arcadio Buendía is impotent, and he kills Prudencio Aguilar for making fun of him. When we go back to the present, the gypsies show José Arcadio Buendía an interesting block of ice. Pilar Ternera, a fortune teller, woos his older son José Arcadio, who is now a teenager, and he gets her pregnant. He does, however, leave town with theirs. Soon after, Ursula has her daughter Amaranta and then goes to look for her son, where she finds a way to get from Macondo to society faster. Arcadio, José Arcadio's son, is born to Pilar Ternera, and the Buendía family adopts a girl named Rebecca. Rebecca has insomnia that spreads quickly and makes people forget things, and the whole town ends up with the same problem. Marquez shows up with a picture that can help with the forgetfulness. José Arcadio Buendía tries to use the technology to take a picture of God but fails. His son Aureliano tries to learn how to be a blacksmith from Marquez. Don Apolinar Moscote, an agent of the central government, shows up in Macondo, which used to be independent. José Arcadio Buendía questions him, which takes away a lot of his power. Even though the Moscotes are against the Buendía family, Aureliano falls in love with Remedios, the youngest Moscote daughter. Aureliano also sleeps with Pilar Ternera while he waits for his fiancée to turn 18. At the same time, Amaranta and Rebecca Buendía, the daughters of the Buendía family, fall in love with Pietro Crespi, the Italian pianola master who was hired to teach them how to dance. Crespi picks Rebecca, and Amaranta swears she will stop them from getting married. After Marquez dies of old age, José Arcadio Buendía goes crazy because he is so interested in the secrets of the world. He is chained to a tree in the yard because he thinks every day is the same. Even though Remedios and Aureliano get married, Amaranta stops Pietro Crespi and Rebecca from getting married on the same day. She was pregnant with twins when she died, not long after the wedding. As soon as the oldest son, José Arcadio, who ran away with the gypsies, comes back, Rebecca can't help but marry her adopted brother. The couple is kicked out of the house by Ursula. Before going to fight somewhere else, Aureliano leads an uprising in town for the liberal side of the war with the conservatives. He is now known as Colonel Aureliano Buendía. The Liberal Party wins and Arcadio takes over as mayor of the town. But he quickly turns into a tyrant himself. Pilar Ternera likes him and tries to sleep with her, but she knows he is her son and pays Santa Sofia de la Piedad to go with her instead. They get married, and she has a daughter named Remedios the Beauty. Arcadio is put to death by shooting squad when the liberals lose the war. Even though Amaranta loves Pietro Crespi, she says no to his marriage proposal. He kills himself, and as a punishment, she burns her hand and has to wear a black bandage over it for the rest of her life. Colonel Aureliano Buendía and Colonel Geroneldo Marquez have been given the death penalty by firing squad. At the last minute, José Arcadio stops the execution, and Colonel Aureliano Buendía goes back to war. He is eventually kicked out of the Liberal Party for being too extreme, and he sees that he is only fighting for pride and not because of his beliefs. He then quits the army. The twin boys of Santa Sofia de la Piedad's late husband are born. They are named José Arcadio II and Aureliano II. José Arcadio is killed, possibly because he was so brave in saving his brother not long ago. His wife, Rebecca, goes off to live alone. Colonel Geroneldo Marquez is put in charge of the town and tries to get together with Amaranta, but she turns him down too. Finally, José Arcadio Buendia, the father who was tied to a tree, dies, and yellow flowers fall from the sky. Because he is the son of José Arcadio and Pilar Ternera, Aureliano José grows up and falls in love with his aunt Amaranta. They sleep together without clothes on, but they never make love. She tells him not to sleep with her, so he joins the army right before they sign a peace deal. An unfriendly soldier kills Aureliano José on his way home from telling Amaranta that he wants to be with her after he quits the army. Colonel Aureliano Buendia's 17 kids come to Macondo to meet him right before he goes back to fight to try to get the liberals to stop the pointless war for good. He agrees to sign a deal that he thinks harms him and his group, and then he tries to kill himself. Colonel Aureliano Buendia locks himself in his workshop and makes gold fish after he failed to kill himself. The twin brothers both sleep with the same woman, Petra Coates. However, Aureliano II's relationship with her lasts longer and has a special effect on their animals that makes them very fertile. José Arcadio is able to get a boat down the river to Macondo, and he celebrates with a party. When Remedios the Beauty is named Queen of the Fair, Fernanda del Carpio, another queen, challenges her power. This leads to a fight that kills many people in the crowd. The story jumps ahead in time to show more about Fernanda del Carpio's childhood in an elite family that was falling apart. Her background made her have unrealistic goals for her life. They get married after the show, but their personalities don't work well together, and Aureliano II keeps seeing Petra Coates. He and Fernanda del Carpio have 2 kids, named Meme and José Arcadio, too. The 17 Aurelianos come back to enjoy the anniversary of the truce. On Ash Wednesday, they get ashes permanently put on their foreheads. They choose to stay in Macondo and build the ice plant their grandfather had dreamed of, as well as a train that connects the town to the rest of the world. When the train comes, it brings other new technologies and foreign investors to a banana farm across the river. Remedios the Beauty doesn't know what's going on in the town or that men are dying because of how beautiful she is. She goes to heaven one day and is never seen again. Colonel Aureliano Buendia is angry about how the city has changed and says he will start a war to get Macondo back to how it was before. He wants his 17 kids to be his troops, but killers kill all but one of them. Even though Ursula is going blind, she can hide it because she knows so much about how people behave. Meme and José Arcadio leave for school, which gives Aureliano II the freedom to move in with Petra Coates. The Colonel Aureliano Buendia has died. The 3rd child of Fernanda del Carpio is born. Her name is Amaranta Ursula. Amaranta the elder sews her funeral covering and dies the day it's done. Because she lost her last child, Ursula goes to bed and doesn't get up for a long time. Mauricio Babylonia is a mechanic who Meme falls in love with. Yellow butterflies are always following him around. Meme can't see Babylonia because Fernanda del Carpio doesn't want him to, but he sneaks in every night to make love to her. Fernanda del Carpio gets a guard who shoots and paralyzes Mauricio Babylonia the next time he tries to visit. The guard then takes Meme to a convent. A few months later, a nun comes to the Buendia home to give birth to Aureliano, the child Meme had. Because Fernanda feels bad about having an illegal child, she hides him by saying he is an orphan with no family. José Arcadio II gets the workers on the banana plantations to go on strike to get better working conditions. 3,000 workers are killed by an army at a meeting to work out their problems. Only José Arcadio II is still alive. The town doesn't believe this story, even though their bodies are put on a train and dumped in the ocean. It starts to rain. José Arcadio II hides in Melquiada's old room and reads the papers while trying to figure out what they mean. It rains every day for almost 5 years. When Aureliano II gets stuck in his house, he starts to take care of Amaranta Ursula and little Aureliano. Everything that lives in the flood dies. In order to get help for a problem with her uterus, Fernanda writes letters to imaginary doctors. The land is being dug up because Aureliano II thinks he can find the sum of gold coins that Ursula has hidden somewhere in or around the house. When the rain stops, a destroyed Macondo is seen. Finally, Ursula gets out of bed, and she dies at the age of 120. Not long after, the forgotten Rebecca does too. Aureliano II quickly loses weight and works hard to get the money he needs to send Amaranta Ursula to school in Brussels. He shows his grandson Aureliano how far he has come in reading Melchiada's text so that Aureliano can continue the work after him. Aureliano II and José Arcadio II both die at the same time, having finished the things they set out to do. Their bodies are buried next to each other. He figures out that Melquiad's predictions are written in Sanskrit and that they will be figured out in 100 years. Santa Sofía de la Piedad, who has been almost forgotten, leaves the house without saying anything else. Soon after, Fernanda del Carpio passes away. José Arcadio comes back and finds the gold that Ursula had hidden under her bed. She had spent it on parties with the town's young people, who drowned him and stole his gold. Amaranta Ursula comes back from Brussels on a leash with her husband Gaston. Aureliano really wants Amaranta Ursula, but he tries to keep himself busy by making friends with an old author from Catalonia and some young men who meet at the shop to talk about their schoolwork. Aureliano meets the old Pilar Ternera in a brothel. She gives him advice. Amaranta Ursula tells Aureliano that he loves her, and the two of them start dating while Gaston is away on business. Amaranta Ursula tells Gaston that he should never come back. The bookshop owner from Catalonia and Aureliano's friends all leave Macondo. A huge group of red ants destroyed the Buendia house. Aureliano and Amaranta Ursula have a child and name him Aureliano. The child is born with a pig's tail, just like Ursula was afraid of all those years ago. Rosa Amaranta dies soon after giving birth. Because he is so sad, Aureliano forgets about the baby and comes home to find ants eating it. In the end, he figures out Melquiades' predictions, which are a history of the Buendia family. A storm hits Macondo and destroys it while he reads.
About the author. The author was born in the small town of Aracataca, which is in the Caribbean part of Colombia. Two of the most important things that influenced Garcia Marquez were his grandfather's ability to tell great stories and his grandfather's support for progressive ideas. He was sent to school in Barranquilla, where he started writing funny songs and comic strips, even though people thought he was a serious kid. He moved to Bogotá while he was finishing high school and stayed there for college to study law, but writing was still his main focus. After an uprising, Garcia Marquez went to Cartagena to finish his education and work as a writer for the local paper. Garcia Marquez never finished college. Instead, he worked as a writer in Cartagena, Barranquilla, Bogotá, and Caracas, Venezuela, building his business. He married Mercedes Barcha while she was still in school. Leaf Storm, his first story, came out in 1955. 100 Years of Solitude, his second, came out in 1967. After the book came out, Garcia Marquez moved his family to Barcelona, Spain, where they stayed for 7 years. Because of his fame, he was able to help the Colombian government and guerrillas negotiate. Because he spoke out against U.S. imperialism, he couldn't get a visa from the U.S. This rule didn't change until Bill Clinton took office. Garcia Marquez kept writing and publishing. In 1985, he released his second most famous book, Love in the Time of Cholera. He also wrote 2 diaries and a number of scripts. He had lymphatic cancer in 1999, but therapy put him in recovery. Garcia Marquez died in 2014.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.